Hello, I am Zinfogel. In this video, we are going to cover Tapu Bulu's August 2021 event missions. For these missions, you have to defeat Tapu Bulu with 9 sync pairs or less, and your teams must include 3 Unova, Gym Leader, and Flying Theme skills. We will do all missions in the same run. Tapu Bulu is relatively simple for Legendary Arena standards. You mostly have to watch out for grassy terrain. Under this field effect, Pokémon restore health when using grass-type moves. It also boosts grass-type damage by 50%. Tapu Bulu is susceptible to interferences. Trap and Flinch is a great way to keep it in check. It's also recommended that you debuff Tapu Bulu's attack and special attack, so it's easier to handle. The plan here is bringing a couple teams to handle Tapu Bulu's Fierce Hellbar, so a cleanup crew can finish it off. Given the mission criteria, Skyla is instrumental in this fight. When properly supported, 3-5 Skyla can even function as a striker, but I am going to use Giovanni as my main DPS. Currently, he is the best free-to-play striker available to new players right now. The key to this fight is buffing your physical defense, and if you are struggling, you should also debuff Tapu Bulu. Alright, we're going to do a strat I developed when Tapu Bulu first dropped, but modified so it fits the event missions. Now, the biggest issue with Tapu Bulu is that we cannot do the classic strat where we have a super strong team take care of the entire fight basically and leave Tapu Bulu with a sliver of health so some sacrificial teams can finish it off. Grassy terrain makes that unviable because it gives Tapu Bulu an absurd recovery rate and it also really beefs up its sync move. So a sacrificial team would have a really hard time finishing off Tapu Bulu and also surviving. So we have to do this in reverse. We're going to first send the sacrificial teams prior to the main crew, but that doesn't mean they cannot contribute to the fight. Hence why we're sending a stalling crew, accompanied by Cheren, who fulfills a Unova and Gym Leader theme skill. Cheren is the better free-to-play Unova support we can be bringing here, because he provides the party with AoE regeneration, and that will give Lucy and Janine enough time to perform the stall. So, you are probably familiar with the stalls in Champion Stadium, and the basis of the strategy is inflicting bad poison and trap on Tapu Bulu to whittle it down through recoil damage. And because it's badly poisoned, we can also use Venom Drench. Venom Drench is a debuffing move accessible to Janine and Ariados and Technidoqueen that's very potent. It debuffs attack, special attack, and speed by 1 stage per use, so it globally debuffs Tapu Bulu's offenses and will make it much easier for next teams to survive. Bad poison is better than regular poison because it bumps up over time, hence why Lucy is preferable here. If you don't have Lucy, you can use BP Erika instead or Koga, but Koga is less efficient because he cannot inflict trap, and trap is very effective against Tapu Bulu because it barely has any trap resistance, so that will work through the majority of its Fierce Hellbar. The second team is going to fulfill the Flying Theme skill requisite, while also working through Tapu Bulu's Fierce Hellbar. So here we have Winona and Kahili, who are the only other accessible flying type sync pairs, and when given proper offensive support, they can dish out some decent damage. So I have Sawyer here to that end, and I am using him for a couple reasons. First off, he's available to anybody who logs into the game right now. Second, I really like his array of offensive and defensive buffing. And thirdly, he can also flinch with Dark Pulse. So if you flinch Tapu Bulu, you have a very high chance of finishing off this Hellbar, even if your stall wasn't as effective as mine. This is also why I am spamming Air Slash with Winona, because I am fishing for a flinch. But in this attempt I got very unlucky and I didn't proc any flinches. I struggled here when I shouldn't have, but Winona and Kahili were still successful at their task. So, a couple caveats about using Kahili and Winona offensively. Kahili can sure crit and endure with her trainer move, so you can use her for endure tanking. And she can also sure crit her sync, which really helps. And Winona has to use Rain Dance before attacking with Hurricane, because when the weather is rainy, Hurricane doesn't miss. And she can dish out some okay damage through that. Winona can also inflict confusion with Hurricane, which is also relatively effective against Tapu Bulu. It has a decent chance of preventing damage. But as long as you get reasonably close to the second health bar, that will be enough. The goal here is setting the battle to this point, which makes it easier for the next team to get started. And now for the team that actually matters. Here we have Rosa, Giovanni, and Skyla. Rosa is a particularly good tank in this encounter because she also benefits from grassy terrain. Her Giga Drain is boosted in damage, and she also regains a little bit more health when using grass type moves under this field effect, so that really helps there. And Giovanni is just a wildcard striker. You can just slot in any competent striker that you have lying around. And Skyla is instrumental in this fight. First off, she buffs defense for the party, so that helps Rosa tank much more reliably. And she also buffs speed, which benefits both Rosa and Giovanni, because Giovanni has such a high speed stat that he maintains gauge very easily and allows Rosa to spam Giga Drain more often. Besides that, she's also fulfilling all of our missing team skills, because she happens to be a flying type Unova and gym leader, so that really helps there. So at the start of the fight, you might have noticed that my Rosa is at 6-star EX potential and my Skyla is also 5 stars. So I'm not going to lie to you, they are very heavily invested. But I did a couple things to attempt to mitigate that. First off, I am running them in gridless, despite the fact that I am showing some recommended 1-5 grids on screen. I am not actually running any grids on Skyla and Rosa. Second, I didn't use Rosa's 6-star EX support buff, even though optimally you always want to open the fight with that because it gives you better DPS in the long run. But this way I'm kinda making up for the investment, but at the end of the day, Rosa is a lot tankier than your base Rosa. But if you give her all of the free tickets that you can get from her bingo, then she will have a similar defensive performance. But I am running a fully gridded Giovanni, and you cannot really afford not to if you are using this strat. It really improves his performance. So Giovanni is 5-5, 2020 is free. And I am running him with a gridded focus around special defense debuffing, because Giovanni has a ton of multipliers derived from that, and when he debuffs special defense, he's also helping Rosa, because Giga Drain is a special move, and that means that Rosa can then therefore drain more health from Tapu Bulu. I don't think there is much else left to say here. This is just your standard encounter. You have your DPS hammer down damage, you have Rosa click Giga Drain, so she sustains herself, and Skyla is clicking Ghost to help advance the sync countdown, while also doing a little bit of chip damage against Tapu Bulu because Ghost happens to be super effective as well. But yeah, you'd be shocked at how effective Giovanni is out of typing legendary arenas. His grid multipliers are just potent enough to allow him to melt through most stages. But with all that said, we're done with Tapu Bulu. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments down below. But we are done here. Thank you so much for watching, take care, and I hope to see you another time.